That's part of the risk the Texans are taking. I mean, this is a $22 million calculated risk with a second-round draft pick attached to it. Yeah, they picked up 2 low-round picks with Diggs, which makes the trade even weirder. They get Diggs and a 6th-rounder this year and a 5th-rounder next year for the second-round pick they gave up next year. But this is a luxury play. Chris was saying yesterday, Nick Caserio has been fascinated with Diggs since he came into the league. And this is their chance to get Diggs on the team and see what they can do. But I have a feeling if there's any type of microaggression, to use Tim Graham's term, D'Amico Ryans is going to nip that in the bud quickly. D'Amico Ryans is going to grab Stefon Diggs and tell him what's what. I think they hope the circumstance will speak to his better angels. And there was no problem his first year in Buffalo that we know of. But if there's anything, they got a tough schedule this year. It's not going to be cakewalk for the Houston Texans. They hit some adversity in September, October, depending upon how their schedule is structured when they get those big games. And this year they got to play in prime time and short week Thursday. And, no more every week, 1 o'clock Eastern, which makes it very easy to get into a rhythm. They're going to be all over the place, and everyone's going to be watching. They hit some adversity early. You better hope that you don't have an issue with Stefon Diggs. And if there is, that's when you activate D'Amico Ryans, and that's when maybe C.J. Stroud takes over that and says what needs to be said to get Stefon Diggs to stop whatever he might be doing if he's frustrated with the number of balls coming his way or the number of losses the Texans have early.
It's not that we've seen C.J. Stroud in the National Football League for all that long, but he does seem like one of those guys that is one of those natural-born leaders that we were talking about. Just the way that folks in Houston talked about him throughout last season and how he came in. And, you hear him talk publicly about wanting to represent Houston well and wanting to change all of the things in terms of the culture around the Houston Texans, right? How do people view us? How do people see us? How are people proud that we are of this city, right? That's the kind of thing where you feel like CJ Stroud can be that guy, as a quarterback. We'll see if it continues to happen that way, but that's at least the sense that I get watching CJ Stroud from afar. And so I don't know exactly what that's going to mean when now Stefon Diggs comes into the locker room. How is he going to deal with that? Is Stefon Diggs going to be a participant in the offseason program? That's another thing. He's not necessarily somebody that loves to do all those things that are voluntary. And of course, he has every right to not be there. But when you're on a new team and the new team has a still young quarterback, you do want to spend time around that guy. So we'll see how much he participates in that, I guess. But it's going to be a test of leadership, I think, with Houston to see how well Stefon Diggs integrates into the system. And that has to do with Stefon Diggs too, and his want to and willingness to participate in what they've already got going, because it worked last year, right? They not only won the division, but they won a playoff game. So they've got something building in Houston. They feel good, obviously, about bringing him in there, because otherwise you don't pay the cost that you paid in order to acquire him. And we'll see if it works out, because it's going to be a really big test for them.
There's one arguably negative psychological human nature tidbit that works in the Texans' favor. And that's, to the extent that Diggs feels like he was rejected by the Bills. And it all comes down to perspective. But if you've ever been on the wrong side of a breakup, the reaction to that is you go out. What's the saying? The best revenge is living well. So he's going to want to show the Bills we're wrong about him. And anybody that might be saying things about him are incorrect. So he'll be there with proverbial bells on for the offseason program. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.